Okay, so just a quick reminder, because we have got new people joining us this morning. So as a quick reminder, when you're working on your chair, checking that you've got some space around you. At various points, your arms are going to go out to the side, you're going to be turning, your arms are going to be going up in the air. So just being aware of what's around you so you don't bump into things. The other really important bit is you're in 2 dimensions on this screen. I can't see you in the round. When you're all on the screen, I actually see you from sitting on that chair. You're about 1 inch by 2 inches in the distance, and I can see you, but I can't see you. I can't see all the way around you. So I am very reliant on you working to your measure, working to the edges of how your joints and your body wants to move and in what sort of way for yourself. And whether you were in this studio with me or not, it wouldn't make that much difference because I can't feel your joints anyway. I've got no idea where things are tight or where things are sore inside your body. So it's about listening to your body. I quite often ask people to think about a scale, that if what you're feeling is somewhere between 0 and 5, often it's unfamiliar and it's just a bit unusual and it's something you've not done for a while in terms of how those muscles and joints are moving. If what you're feeling is something on a scale between 5, 6 and 10, potentially what you're feeling is pain. So if you're feeling pain, that's the bit to back away from. If it feels quite uncomfy and sore, you want to just reduce the repetitions, you want to reduce the angle or how long you're holding something for. Okay, and working within the movement that you have and just exploring, seeing it as a means to explore how do things want to move today rather than there's a goal of a particular shape that you're trying to make. Okay, brilliant. So we'll start, as usual, it's chair yoga, so we're going to start in our sitting position. Again, as a reminder, these chairs often have a sloping back. This one isn't too sloping, but we quite often plonk ourselves into a chair with a bit of gap here, and then we sit back, and then we tilt our head forwards to look forward. So we've got a curve here. We've got a curve at the back of the neck, not necessarily brilliant for sitting for a long time. So in yoga it's called Egyptian pose. If you just have a little shuffle of your bottom right into the back of the chair and then sit upright. And notice that a lot of the time your shoulder blades are not back in the chair if you've got your spine vertical. So with my spine vertical, I've got quite a gap behind the back of the chair between me and the chair. This chair is a little bit too tall for me. That's code for my legs are probably a little bit short. So I need a block or a book underneath my feet so that I sit comfortably. You don't have to have a block or a book as long as you feel comfy. Lovely. So let your hands rest on your thighs, anywhere that you want to allow your shoulders to soften down away from your ears. Your arms are comfy. You might close your eyes for a moment. Because you're all muted in your different rooms, it's absolutely fine to have a big sighing out breath. And know that with that sighing out breath, you arrive a little bit more heavily into your seat. So your seat is twofold. It's the chair you're sitting in as a seat, but also your sitting position. So notice the connection with the back of your thighs, your glute muscles, the bottom of your pelvis resting on your chair, letting everything feel heavy. Using each out breath to let yourself feel heavy, to arrive. So it might take a moment or two to settle. This morning might have been really busy already, lots of things going on at home, lots of tugs on our time and our thinking. So coming to your sitting position, knowing that it's okay to be here for the next hour or so, your time for your yoga practice. Take your awareness to your breath. So if you have been busy this morning, chances are your breath is a little bit more rapid. It might be underneath your collarbones. Let it soften and ease, bring it down a little bit further into your lungs so you start to notice the movement of your ribs. So as you breathe in, you might notice the ribs move towards your upper arms a touch. And as you breathe out, they move away from your upper arms. As you breathe in, the front of the chest lifts just a touch. And as you breathe out, it lowers. As you breathe in, you might notice your upper back expanding. You can direct the breath there if you want to, that sense of expanding across your upper back as you breathe in, and then that shape becomes a little bit smaller as you breathe out. And then taking your awareness down to your abdomen. So we use our abdominal muscles a little bit to help us sit up, but we can soften them a touch. So softening your abdominal muscles, taking your breath deeper into your lungs as if you breathe into your abdomen. So noticing your abdomen moving like a bit of a balloon, filling up as you breathe in and emptying as you breathe out. So slowly but surely we arrive into our seat with our comfy, easy, resting breath. And noticing that when we pay the breath some attention, we can make it a little bit slower and a little bit longer, but without putting any strain on the breath. While we're here, take a moment to notice your own body, anything that feels tight, anything that feels sore. Give yourself permission to move in the right way for you this morning. After your next out breath, gently opening your eyes. So keeping that lovely, soft, easy breathing. As you breathe in, taking your arms wide. As you breathe out, bringing them forwards. As you breathe in, take your arms wide. As you breathe out, bring them forwards. So keeping that rhythm going, however long your in and your out breath is, keeping that rhythm going. My arms are just moving. Your arms don't have to move at the same speed that mine are moving. Brilliant. I'm going to turn sideways just to show you. So as you breathe in, a little bit of a lift of the chest. As you breathe out, a little bit of a curving forwards in the upper back. Just to notice that the upper back can move a little bit. It's not that easy to move your upper back because of all the ribs that are connected. Super. So next, in breath, you take your arms wide, and out breath, bring the arms down. Have a shuffle of your bottom towards the front of your chair and plant your feet firmly onto the floor. We're going to do a little bit of turning now, just seeing what the spine wants to do with some rotation. Depending on the space that you have around you, you might have your arms out and turn. You might have your arms in cactus arms and turn, because then you won't clatter into anything. Okay? So have an in-breath. With an out-breath, just ease your body round with the out-breath. It doesn't matter how far round you go. When you want to breathe in, head yourself back to centre. Next out-breath, turn the other way. And as you want to breathe in, back to centre. A couple more to each side, just noticing and exploring what's going on in the spine. As you turn, push your feet into the floor so you keep your knees facing forwards, which keeps your pelvis level on your chair, which means we're definitely turning the spine and not having the pelvis following. When you get back to centre, take your arms wide. Have an in-breath. Then with an out-breath, we're going to have a little explore of a side bend. So you windmill the arms, one up, one down. Breathe in, back to shoulder height. And breathe out, windmill the other way, side bending. So we'll do a few more of these. When you breathe out, side bend. When you breathe in, come back to that start position. And as we move like this, notice your bottom on the chair. So one way you side bend, maybe the bottom wants to lift. So you get a little bit of a lightness in the side of the pelvis as you side bend the opposite way. Simply noticing and seeing if we can move the spine in its side bend without altering the weight into the glute muscles. Lovely. And then bringing the arms back up and all the way down. Have a roll of your shoulders so they come forwards and upwards and backwards, and slide them down. So a few more rolling actions, forwards, upwards, backwards and down. And then take your shoulders backwards, upwards, forwards and down. And see whether it feels different to roll your shoulders in one direction or the other. Might be easier one way. And then take your arms out to the side. So we're going to have one palm up, one palm down. And you're going to roll your arms so the palms of your hands move 360 degrees. What we're after is some movement into the shoulder joint. So as you take your palm all the way round, the movement's right up in the shoulder. And if you're not sure, because it's quite easy to turn the lower part of the hand without anything happening up here. So if you're not sure, if you put your other hand onto your shoulder, you can really feel it moving. You might have one shoulder like mine where I don't need to feel for it at all because I can hear it. I can hear it crunching and grinding, and it's quite delightful. Lovely. So you get a little bit of movement into the shoulders. And at some point, you then notice that your arms are incredibly heavy when they're held out to the side. Both palms face up, fingers onto the shoulders, elbows out to the side. We start with dinky little circles, like your elbows are crayons. You're drawing circles on the wall at the side and let them spiral out to get bigger and bigger. And again, just to explore what's the movement that we've got going on. And then circle back the other way. How does it all feel? So we need a little popping sound. There's a bit of air releasing. And you back away from anything that feels too grindy and too horrible. Arms go out to the side. Bend at the elbows. So have an in-breath here. With an out-breath, we're turning the arms so the palms face behind. Breathing in, hands come back. So we're working towards keeping the elbows quite high at shoulder height. We're working towards taking the palms to face behind us. So the hands might come to here, the elbows might come down. You work to your measure, exploring what's going on in your shoulder. Fantastic. Next time you breathe in, your arms come up, take them out to the side. Have a little rotating 360 degrees And then bring your fingers onto your shoulders and circle your elbows around again. And back the other way. Fantastic. And bring your arms down and give them a shake. So we're staying sitting at the front of the chair. Let's explore what's going on with the legs. So bring your right knee up a little bit. So you float your foot from the floor. Turn your kneecap into a crayon and draw some circles. Doesn't matter how big that circling with your kneecap is. Lovely. Go back the other way with your circling. Brilliant. And pop the foot to the floor, over to the other side, lifting the left knee up and circling. So one leg might be significantly different to the other. Depends on what's going on with the strength in those muscles. Circle back the other way. And bring the foot down. Super. So stretch your right leg forwards, point the toes away, and then point the heel away. So you've got that action of pointing the heel away, pointing the toes away, but your foot is just resting on the floor. Lovely. And then bend that leg again, other side, point the toes away, then the heel, toes away, then the heel. Super. And bring the leg back. So sit tall, dangle your arms down by your side, rotate your arms so the palms face outwards. Your arms are dangling down by your side, but the palms of your hands face away from you. And then begin to lift your arms up and away behind you. Got that sense of your shoulder blades coming towards one another. Backs of the hands working firmly towards one another. So quite a lot of work going on in your upper back, across your shoulder blades. I'm just going to turn sideways while you're holding this. There's a little bit of a temptation if you look into my lower back that when you lift, you're arching a bit here. So draw your tummy button to your spine if you're doing that. Super. We're going to counter that with a leg anyway, so arms are up and away behind you and lift your right knee up in the air. Draw your tummy button towards your spine, lift up on your pelvic floor muscles. So just as a reminder, think traffic jam, stuck 30 miles from a service station and you really wish you were there. Those are the muscles you need to find. Tummy button towards the spine, lifting up on the pelvic floor muscles. Knee comes up just a little bit more, if it will. Bring the backs of the hands together a little bit more and lift them slightly higher and breathe. And breathe. Release the arms down, circle that leg, kneecap circling around, brilliant. Circle it back the other way, and then lower the foot down. Well done. So over to the other side. Let's do the arms first, set the arms, so rotate the palms out to the side, lift the arms up and away behind you. So the palms are facing outwards. You've got external rotation. You've got that sense of your chest lifting. You've got the backs of your hands working towards one another. And lifting your left knee. So the lifting of the left knee, or lifting of any knee with your arms here, counters you overarching into your lower back. You've got to draw your tummy button towards your spine to lift your knee. You need to be lifting up on your pelvic floor. So we can't overarch into our back. The arms working here stop us wanting to lean forwards when we're lifting the leg up. And the more we work to taking the backs of the hands together, the more strength we're getting in our upper back to counter all that forward movement that we have, driving, sitting, working on computers, etc. Brilliant. Squeeze the backs of the hands together, lift the arms just a touch, lift that knee a little bit if it wants to, and breathe. Fantastic. Let the arms dangle. Circle that knee around just a little bit. Circle the knee around. Watch that it's not the foot. Have it moving the knee around. Circle back the other way with the kneecap. Brilliant. And pop the foot to the floor. Slide your hands to your knees. You'll turn sideways so you can see. We're going to do cat from sitting. So hands on the knees. Your knees can be apart, absolutely fine. You stick your imaginary little tail out behind you. Lift the chest and the gaze and breathe in. Tuck your imaginary little tail like you're trying to sit on it and look down into your lap and breathe out. Stick your imaginary tail away out behind you. Lift your chest and your gaze, look forwards. And breathe out. Tuck your tail, look down. Another couple of those with your breathing speed to ease your back into that forward bend and that back bend. Super. And when you've done a couple of those, coming back to your sitting position, you're near the front of your chair and have your legs parallel. So you've got the same sort of distance between your knees as you have with your ankles. We're going to lift the right knee. We're going to keep it lifted and take it out to the side. We're going to lower it 1 inch. We're going to lift it that inch, bring it back to centre. We're going to lower it 1 inch, lift it 1 inch, take it out to the side. Lower 1 inch, lift 1 inch, knee back to the centre. Lower 1 inch, lift 1 inch, knee out to the side. Keep the knee out to the side and make some small circling actions with your kneecap. Brilliant. And then stop the circling and lift as high as you can out to the side, noticing. Draw your toes up towards your kneecap as well and bring that knee up as high as your body will let you with your leg out to the side. Fantastic. Keep it super high, bring it all the way back to centre and then lower it back down. Then let's go over to the other side. So we're going to lift up with the left knee. We're going to take it out to the side. We're going to lower it 1 inch. We're going to lift it 1 inch. We're going to bring it back to centre. We're going to lower it 1 inch. Lift it 1 inch. Take it out to the side. Lower it 1 inch. Lift it 1 inch. Back to centre. Lower it 1 inch. Lift it 1 inch. Out to the side, hold it here, circle, and keeping your knee as far out to the side as you can. The foot that's on the floor, keep pushing it into the floor to help this leg circle. Circle the other way round with that kneecap. Check it's not your foot circling, it's your kneecap, because we're trying to move into the ball and socket joint and all the muscles in the thighs, and lift it up high. It's nearly over. Bring it all the way back to centre and lower it down. Slide your hands to your knees. Have a little bit of that cat move again. Okay? So cat is where you stick your tail out, lift the chest and the gaze, tuck and look down. So you're taking your spine into a back arch and then a forward bend. Back arch as you breathe in and look up, and forward bend as you breathe out and look down. A couple more of those at your breathing speed. Super. And then we're going to come up to standing. So I always put my chair at the side so that you can see me, okay? So that I'm here. It's absolutely fine for you to do this standing behind your chair with both hands on the back of the chair, okay? So don't copy me. Do the right thing for you in terms of how your balance is feeling. And it's absolutely fine to stand away from the chair and not use it at all. All of these things in your control, okay? So we're just going to use the chair a little bit to explore how our balance is. So have a listen to the instructions with your eyes closed and just notice how it feels to explore with your eyes closed, okay? Absolutely fine to have your hand on the chair. What we're working at doing is having the very least amount of contact with the chair in the hand, but knowing that we have this hand here as a stabiliser. That's really crucial, okay? So close your eyes and stand in your mountain pose, your Tadasana. It's a tall standing position where you're lengthening from the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Your knees are slightly soft. Pour the weight into your left leg and all the way down into the left foot and come up onto the ball of the right foot. So simply bending the right knee a little and coming up onto the ball of the right foot. Keep all the weight down into the left leg, the left foot, so the right foot becomes a little stabiliser. Continue to pour weight down into your left foot and then explore what it feels like to lift the ball of your foot from the floor and roll onto the very tips of your toes on the right foot. And breathe. Engage the front of your thigh muscle a little bit, but keep your knee slightly soft. So what we're doing here is we're working between tips of the toes and ball of the foot. As the body wobbles a bit, you want to put the ball of the foot down. As it settles, you then bring yourself up onto the tips of the toes. Great place to work to understand the stillness that you can get with that lovely, easy breathing that helps us balance. Some of you might want to explore now with going from the tips of your toes touching the floor to floating the toes a centimetre or so from the floor. And then you're working between the tips of the toes touching and not touching. Eyes are closed. Notice whether the hand is gripping on the chair. If the hand is gripping on the chair and you've got your toes lifted from the floor, we're not using our balance and our legs. So bring the tips of the toes down and soften the gripping on the chair, because we're working at how we find stillness. Brilliant. Bring the toes down if they're floating. Bring the ball of the foot down if it's floating. Bring the whole of the foot down. When you get the right foot connected with the floor, just take a moment to observe the left leg and how much it's worked and how strong it needs to be to hold us on one leg. Keeping your eyes closed, pour the weight into the right leg, into the right foot, come up onto the ball of the left foot. This is a lovely place to be, to observe stillness. Great place to observe anything else that's joined in. So that could be your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. To be aware of any tightness, let everything soften. So then we're exploring moving from having the ball of the left foot connected with the floor to having the tips of the toes connected with the floor. So a lot more weight pulls down into the right leg and foot. Notice what's happening with the chair and the grip. Is it a tight, tense grip? Is it a soft, gentle touching of the chair because you know the helpful friend is there, but you're not sure whether you want it or need it? Notice what you do need. Possibly you explore what it feels like to float the toes from the floor just a little bit. Moving between the toes touching and not touching, or moving between being on the toes and being on the ball of the foot. Notice how many times the eyes want to open. Fantastic. Bring the toes down, bring the ball of the foot down, bring the heel down. And notice the work in your leg. So we're going to open the eyes now. Okay, that's the tough bit over. So there was that bit of research, just for those of you who haven't heard me talk about this before, there was some research that came out, I don't know, it must have been about 6 years ago, that said if we can stand on one leg with our eyes closed without any other support for 10 seconds or more, on average we live longer by 2.5 years than people who can't. So we work at it, because it's 2.5 years to have, isn't it? Why not? So hold on to the chair if you need the chair. We're going to, with our eyes open, gaze at something ahead of you, a fixed point. Okay? You can glance at the screen if you need to, but find a fixed point ahead of you. Come up onto the ball of the right foot, so all the way down into the left leg. Then find the tips of the toes. So much easier with the eyes open. Use the chair when the chair is needed, and start to float your right knee up to wherever you want to bring it, and hold it there. Draw your toes up towards your kneecap. So depending on the use of the chair, if you're using the chair, try to lighten the load of the touch. It might even just be one fingertip on the chair, because then the brain knows it's there, the mind knows the body won't fall. If the hand is happy to come away from the chair, bring it to Anjali Mudra, push the palms of your hands together, because that helps with our stillness and our balance. Pushing the right side and the left side together. Lift the knee a little bit more if it wants to. Breathing. Brilliant. So, one option is to slowly, inch by inch, lower that leg down with your hands in Anjali Mudra. Other option is to connect with the chair and slowly lower the leg inch by inch. Gravity wants you to drop your leg. If you work against gravity as you're lowering down, we're doing lots and lots of work. Brilliant. So at this point you might step wide and have a little swish of your tail feathers. Swishing your tail feathers quite literally is sticking your bottom out and just wiggling. It seems to ease the back, the thighs and everything. Partly because it makes you smile a little bit. So let's try the other side. So you're going to pull the weight into the right leg, find the ball of the left foot. Always, I'll just go sideways. When you come here, it's a little bit tempting to lock this knee back. So if you notice that, soften it slightly. It's not bent, it's just not locked back. Locking your knee just hurts eventually. Super. So from here, you might be holding the chair, you might have just a fingertip or two on the chair. Pull the weight into the right leg, we're going to float the left leg up. Then we make that decision, do we want to let go of the chair or not? Do we have a little bit of a finger hold? Do we take the hands to Anjali Mudra? And explore where that leg wants to come to in space. How high does the knee want to come up? What about the toes? Drawing the toes up towards the kneecap. Brilliant. And notice that you can soften your shoulders, your arms, your jaw, your eyebrow centre, and you've got all this amazing work going on that standing leg. It's wiggling about. All those tiny little wiggling movements are all your muscles working strongly to keep that balance. Maybe the knee comes up a little bit more, maybe it doesn't. Breathe. Fantastic. Options. We're lowering the knee an inch at a time, slowly back down. You might keep your hands in Anjali Mudra, you might bring your hands to the chair if you've taken them off. And lower your leg an inch at a time with your out breath. Really take your time because this is super strengthening. Fantastic. All the way down. And once you get your foot to the floor, step a little bit wider. Watch out for not headbutting the chair or anything. Have a little swish of your tail feathers. Super. And then come to sitting. To give the legs a little bit of a rest. So stay sitting right to the front of your chair and take your knees wide apart. Just to wherever they want to go. Okay? So sometimes if I do this, I feel like I've got my toes sticking out completely to the side, but actually my thighs are sticking away from me in a V shape. So I want to bring my ankles under my knees and have my second toe going in the same direction as the way my thigh is pointing. That's going to keep your knee safe and your ankle safe. Super. And sit yourself tall, like the crown of the head is being lengthened up. Brilliant. Bring your hands onto your waist. Breathe in, and with an out breath, a gentle easing of the spine over to the right. Notice your left shoulder and roll it back in space slightly, like you're turning your chest to the left a little bit. So you're leaning against an imaginary wall. Notice your right hand on your waist and how much weight might be collapsing down into that hand. So keep this hand quite light on the waist, because then everything around your abdomen and your spine is doing the work. Bring your left hand, slide it up the side of your body to your ear and slide it into space. And breathe. So it's your side bend to wherever your body wants to go. Push your feet into the floor. Keep your pelvis level with the chair, so each glute muscle feels just as heavy as the other. Reaching over to the side with that top arm, not collapsing into the hand on your waist. And breathe. It gets really tempting now not to breathe, so breathe. Turn your left palm up to the ceiling. With your next in-breath, push the ceiling up. And with an out-breath, bring the arm back down onto the waist. Sit tall, have an in-breath. With an out-breath, gently side bending the other way to wherever you want to go. Keep pushing your feet into the floor. Right shoulder, this top one, just roll it back slightly. So you're leaning against an imaginary wall. Your right hand, slide it up your body to your ear and then into space. And breathe. What's happening with this hand on your waist? Check you're not just flopping into that hand, that you're using all the muscles supporting your body, your spine, pelvic floor, abdominals working into this side bend. Lovely. Turn your palm to face the ceiling, your right palm, breathe in, push the ceiling up and breathe out. Come back, so your hands on your waist. And release, have a little bit of a roll of your shoulders. Super. So we're going to work a little bit more now with the positioning of your legs. Some of you have done this before, some of you haven't. If you haven't done it before, it's worth a bit of a watch because you're going to turn on your chair. If you've done it before and you want to join in as I do it, that's absolutely fine. So you're turning side on to the chair. You're going to hold the back of the chair. I've turned to face the left. So my left leg is on the chair. My right leg is hanging off the chair, and my right buttock is hanging off the chair. Okay? I've got these dinky little legs, or this chair that's too big, so I want to bring the floor up a bit to reach my foot. So right glute muscle hanging off the chair, right leg, I'm going to take it away behind me a little bit. Okay? So we get some length up the front of the right leg. The knee's bent, and we're simply moving the heel away and back to see what it feels like at the front of the right leg. And you're exploring where you want to go to. We're rocking onto the toes and then towards the ball of the foot by easing the heel of the foot away. Okay? So bringing yourself to this position if you haven't already. Turn yourself to the left on your chair, hold on to the back of your chair and sit your left thigh on the chair and your right leg glute muscle hangs off the chair. And you're easing the right leg. Hold on to the chair back to make sure you don't fall off the chair. Okay? Once you get this leg with the heel pushing away behind you, and it's working towards being straightish, you can push your feet into the floor. Notice that you can get a little bit of lightness of your skeleton wanting to come up from the chair, but your skin onesie is still connected with the chair. Brilliant. Then soften the push of the feet and be heavy into the chair again. Now I find I lean towards the chair so I get an angle on my pelvis. Let the right side of you just drop to the floor a little bit so your pelvis becomes level with the chair seat, okay? So rather than tilted, ease that leg away, push the feet into the floor. So all the thighs are working firmly, but you're still protected by sitting in the chair. Hold on to the chair with your left hand, maybe the right arm comes up. Push the feet into the floor. You might feel okay to take the left arm up as well. But if you think, I don't want to let go of the chair, don't let go of the chair. It's not a bother at all. If you've got both arms up in the air and you want to, you can think about lifting the chest a touch and taking the gaze up, maybe to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Breathing, push your feet into the floor. Breathe. And then bring your arms down, take hold of the chair again, bring this right leg forwards, swivel yourself around so we can have a go to the other side. So you're facing the right side of your chair, which means you've got your right thigh in contact with the front edge of the chair. You've got your left leg just floating in space for a moment, your left glute muscle hanging off the chair. Hold on to the chair so that we don't fall off the chair while we get the left leg sorted, and you push away behind. So you're in a kind of lunge, you're in a runner's sort of shape here, as if you're about to set off. So everything is facing to the right, your pelvis, your chest, your gaze. The left leg working away behind you. We have to just ease that leg away and explore by nudging the heel away behind you, getting some length at the front of the left leg and exploring and seeing what it feels like. Brilliant. So once you've settled your left leg in a place where you feel in control of it, let the left side of your pelvis come down slightly if it's lean, so your pelvis is horizontal, level with the seat of your chair. Push your feet into the floor. Notice how powerfully your thighs can work. Maybe your left arm comes up. Maybe your right arm comes up. Push that left heel away behind you. Push your feet into the floor. Some of you might be lifting quite high out of that chair. That's fine if you want to. Breathe. Maybe lift the chest a bit. Look to where the wall and the ceiling meet. And then lower yourself back down. Bring down the right arm to hold onto the chair. Then the left arm. Bring the left leg back. Super. Turn. Take your knees wide. Have your knees over your ankles. Take a side bend to the right. Bring your right arm, your forearm, resting on the thigh. It's a little bit tempting to look down to the toes. So turn the chest and the gaze, and you're looking ahead. Have your left arm just behind your back so you can roll the left shoulder back a little bit. Brilliant. Breathe in, take the arm up and reach. Breathe out, let the arm fall back in space. And then inch by inch with an out breath, lower the arm towards the head. Push your feet into the floor. Inch by inch, lower the arm towards the head. Use your out breath. Enjoy that length down the side of the body. And then turn your left palm to face the ceiling. Breathe in, push the ceiling up, and breathe out, bring the arm down. Same on the other side. So sit tall, side bend to the left. So it's your left forearm that can rest on your thigh, anywhere at all, wherever feels comfy. I quite like it with my palm facing up. And you can let yourself rest heavily into that arm. It's a bit tempting, you're kind of looking maybe down at your toes. So turn the body so you look forwards and the gaze. Roll that right shoulder back a little bit. Brilliant. Take the arm, the right arm up and reach for the ceiling. And then let the arm drop back in space. And then slowly, an inch at a time, working that arm towards the head. Use your out breath, a sighing out breath. And whenever you're breathing in, just pause any movement and let that arm ease towards the head to wherever it wants to go. Lovely. Enjoy that side bend. Move your right shoulder back in space a little bit. Like you're turning your chest slightly. Breathe, push your feet into the floor. Keep breathing. And then turn your right palm to the ceiling. Breathe in, push the ceiling up. Breathe out, bring the arm down. And then wander your feet towards one another. Have a little bit of a cat move here. So we've got that easing sensation in the back. Lovely. So after your next in-breath and you're looking up in cat, then facing forwards, floating the arms up. So your arms are soft and floaty, they're at shoulder height. You're going to turn your palms to face you. Your palms are made of mirror and you're gazing at the reflection of yourself. Turn your left palm to face away, gaze at the reflection of yourself in your right palm, have an in-breath. With an out-breath, take the palm around, follow the gaze, the reflection, and breathe in and come back to centre. Swap the palms over, gaze at the reflection in your left hand, breathe out, take the hand round to the left, and breathe in, come back to centre and swap the palms over. Couple more to each side in your breathing speed. As you breathe out, draw your tummy button towards your spine. Enjoy the turning in your spine. So breathing out to turn away from the midline, breathing in to turn back towards the midline. When you get back to centre on the left side, making that your last one, bringing your arms down, having a little bit of a roll over your shoulders. So a little bit more work with the arms and the legs. I'm going to show you a mudra. So thumb tip joins with middle two fingers, and your index finger and your little finger stick up. So you've got a tube. You do the same with each hand. Brilliant. So bring your right arm across your chest so that the palm of the hand just looks over your shoulder, and your left hand, left arm is out to the side with your palm facing forwards. And then I'm just turning sideways so you can see you want to be levelling off because you're holding a flute. Okay, so you want to be levelling off. If this arm's up here, you're not holding your flute in a way that you can play it. So you need the arms levelled off. So you're holding a flute. Now the mouthpiece is over here. So you've got to turn away from your hands to find the mouthpiece of your flute. Okay, brilliant. And then bring your arms the other way around. Just have a practice at the other way with your arms. So the arm that comes across your chest, the hand's just peering over your shoulder a little bit. Other arm is out to the side of the palm facing forwards, and you've got everything levelled off. And then you've got to turn your head slightly away from your hands to blow into the mouthpiece, that imaginary mouthpiece, to play your flute. Super. So if we keep hold of this mudra, that's just to remind you. Sitting near to the front of your chair, hands are held in that mudra. Sit yourself tall, so you imagine the crown of your head lifting. And you're going to lift up your right knee ever so slightly and then draw your toes up to your kneecap and tilt your knee out to the side. And then turn your foot, so the sole of your foot is looking to the floor in that direction. Brilliant. So we've got right knee lifted, I think. Have you got your left knees lifted? I can't remember what I said. Opposite arm. So if it's my right knee lifted, sorry, this is where it all goes a bit pear-shaped if I try and mirror. So right knee is lifted, it's your right arm that comes across your chest, and left arm out to the side. And then you're turning to look into turning to blow into your mouthpiece, which is really looking at your knee that's sticking out to the side. So you can play about with how high you lift that knee, how much you turn your head and blow into your flute. Brilliant. Breathe. So the tune that you're playing can be any length. You don't have to be here for ages. You can slowly lower that leg back down, bring your hands back to centre, and then ease to the other side. So arms go across the other way. Sometimes easier to set the arms and know that they're there. Other knee comes up, draw the toes up to the kneecap, little tilt of the knee out to the side, and then a turn of the ankle so the foot is facing the floor. Turn the head away from the hands to find the mouthpiece of your flute. Fantastic. And then gently lowering the foot down, bringing the arms down. And a little shake of the arms and a roll. Take your knees wide apart. Slide your hands to your knees and have some cat moves. So that's the one where you're going to stick your little tail out, lift the chest and the gaze, and then tuck your imaginary little tail and look down. So as you lift up and stick your tail out, you breathe in, And as you tuck your tail, you breathe out and look down. A couple more of those, easing and moving in your own breathing speed. Brilliant. And after your next in-breath, when your head comes up, and bringing your legs back together, wiggling your bottom right the way back into your chair. Maybe you have a block under your feet if you need one. And bringing yourself to your upright sitting position. I'm going to show you one more mudra. Jnana mudra, so that's wisdom. You bring the tip of the thumb and the tip of the finger together to make a circle, and the other 3 fingers are straight. It's the same with each hand. So I can offer choice with this. You can sit with your palms facing up, and that indicates that you're kind of wanting to receive something, an answer to a question, a solution, something that kind of is healing, something that's restorative for you, and that you're kind of asking for the universe to help you with that. You could have your palms facing down on your laps, and not because you don't want to have any wisdom from anywhere, but you're feeling that you want to feel grounded, a bit more certain, a bit more sure, because perhaps the decision has been made and you want to feel certain that that's your decision. Just as an example. So your hands rest on your lap, and maybe your palms face up, maybe your palms face down, your elbows can be out to the side or tucked in, anywhere that feels comfy. This is the bit to just let yourself feel comfy. Sitting tall, closing your eyes. Maybe a couple of big sighing out breaths. Coming back to your comfy Egyptian pose, which is your seated pose, where your ankles, your knees are at right angles. The shape between your thigh and your body is at right angles at your pelvis. Crown gently easing up to the sky, and your spine feeling tall but feeling soft. Letting everything settle and ease. Being aware of your breath. Noticing the movement of the breath in your ribs. So you can feel your ribs moving as you breathe in and out, and then taking your awareness a little bit lower as your breath softens and eases, taking your breath down to the bottom part of your lungs and noticing your abdomen moving with your in and your out breath. Noticing that the mind wanders, the mind jumps about to all sorts of different thoughts. And when you notice that that's happened, you can allow your focus to come back to simply observing your breath, the movement of the ribs perhaps, the movement of the abdomen, maybe noticing the flow of the breath from the nostrils all the way down to the abdomen and back out. After your next out breath, releasing the mudra that you're holding with your hands, you might give your fingers a little bit of a wiggle. You might give your shoulders a little bit of a roll, starting to open your eyes. Easing yourself gently back.